Hello, and welcome back to Kookaburra, where knowledge meets inner wisdom. In the previous video, we started with something very simple, but very important. We became aware that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who can observe them. And once you begin to understand that distinction, the next question naturally appears. If I am not my thoughts, then where do those thoughts actually come from? To understand that, we need to take a closer look at something we use every moment of every day, the human mind. When we talk about the mind, we often speak about it as though it were one single system. But for practical purposes, I like to divide it into two main parts, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. There are other ways of describing the mind, of course, but for what we are trying to understand here, this simple model works very well. Your conscious mind is the part you are using right now. It listens, it thinks, it analyzes, it makes decisions. It compares information and decides whether something makes sense to you. For example, you may consciously decide, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to exercise every morning. I'm not going to get angry so easily anymore. And at the moment you make that decision, you may genuinely mean it. But then something very interesting happens. A few days later, you find yourself doing exactly the opposite. And you may wonder, why am I doing this when I already decided not to? That is where the subconscious mind enters the picture. The subconscious mind operates mostly outside your normal conscious awareness. And compared with the conscious mind, it is incredibly powerful. It stores your habits, emotional reactions, learned behaviors, memories, beliefs, and automatic responses. Think about driving a car. When you first learned to drive, almost everything required conscious attention. You had to think about the steering wheel, mirrors, indicators, pedals, traffic, and everything happening around you. It could feel overwhelming, but after years of driving, much of that process becomes automatic. You can drive along a familiar road while thinking about something completely different. Your subconscious mind has learned the procedure and now performs much of it for you, and that is extremely useful. Imagine having to consciously think about every single movement you make throughout the day. Life would be almost impossible. So the subconscious mind is not your enemy. It is an incredibly efficient system. The problem begins when it is running programs that are no longer useful to you. Many subconscious programs begin very early in life. As children, we are constantly observing the world around us. We observe our parents, our teachers, our family, other children. We learn what gets us attention, what gets us punished, what makes us feel safe, what makes us feel rejected. And we begin forming beliefs about ourselves and about the world. Some of those beliefs may be helpful. Others may follow us for decades without us even knowing they are there. A child who is repeatedly told, "You're not good enough," may eventually stop hearing those words consciously. But the belief itself can remain deeply buried in the subconscious. Years later, that person may be perfectly intelligent and capable, yet still hesitate whenever an opportunity appears. Consciously, they may say, "I want to do this." But somewhere deeper inside, another program may be saying, "You're going to fail." And because that program operates below conscious awareness, the person may not even understand why they keep holding themselves back. This also explains why willpower alone often does not work. The conscious mind may make a decision, but the subconscious mind continues running its old program. Imagine that your conscious mind says, "Go left," but your subconscious programming says, "Go right." Which one usually wins? Very often, the subconscious. Not because something is wrong with you, but because the subconscious system is designed to operate automatically. It does not sit there questioning every program. It simply runs what it has learned. This is why people sometimes repeat the same relationship patterns, the same emotional reactions, the same habits, even the same mistakes. They may consciously know better, but knowing something intellectually does not automatically change the program underneath it. There is another useful way to look at the conscious mind. You can think of it as a kind of gatekeeper. When new information comes in, the conscious mind can analyze it. It can accept it, reject it, question it. But once something becomes deeply accepted and moves into subconscious programming, we may stop questioning it. It simply becomes part of our internal reality. This is one reason childhood experiences can have such a powerful effect. Young children do not yet have the same critical thinking abilities as adults. If a parent says, "You're clumsy," the child may not stop and think, "Well, that is only my father's personal opinion based on limited evidence." The child simply absorbs it, and after hearing it often enough, it can become, "I am clumsy." Notice the difference. The original statement came from somebody else, but eventually it becomes part of the child's identity. Your subconscious beliefs also influence what you notice. We are surrounded by an enormous amount of information every second. Your mind cannot consciously process all of it, so it filters. It decides what is important enough to bring into your awareness. And those filters are influenced by your previous experiences, expectations, and beliefs. For example, two people can experience exactly the same situation and walk away with completely different interpretations. One sees an opportunity, the other sees danger. One sees rejection, the other sees freedom. The external event may be the same, but the internal filters are different, and this becomes extremely important when we begin talking about our perception of reality later in this series. This brings us back to what we discussed in the previous video. If you believe that every thought appearing in your mind is you, then you automatically become trapped inside those thoughts. But once you become the observer, something changes. You can begin to notice them. Instead of saying, "I am afraid," you can begin to notice, "There is fear appearing in me," instead of, "I am not good enough." You might recognize, "Interesting. There is a belief in me saying that I am not good enough." That small shift is incredibly important, because once you can observe a program, you are no longer completely controlled by it. Awareness creates space, and inside that space, change becomes possible. A simple exercise. Over the next few days, try something simple. Watch your automatic reactions, especially when something irritates you, frightens you, or makes you uncomfortable. Instead of immediately reacting, ask yourself, "Why did that affect me so strongly?" You do not have to solve it, just observe it. You may be surprised how often the reaction has very little to do with what is happening now. Something happening today may simply have pressed an old button, and that old button belongs to your subconscious programming. The more you begin observing those reactions, the more you start learning how your own mind works, and that is a very important step toward understanding yourself. Where we go next. So far, we have established two important ideas. First, you are not simply the stream of thoughts inside your head. You can observe those thoughts. And second, much of what happens inside your mind is influenced by subconscious programming operating outside your normal awareness. In the next video, we are going to look more closely at the subconscious mind itself. We will explore how these programs are created, why some of them remain with us for decades, and how they can influence our behavior without us even realizing it. Because once you understand the subconscious mind, many things about human behavior suddenly begin to make much more sense. Thank you for watching, and welcome to the journey, Kookaburra, where knowledge meets inner wisdom.